All right, welcome everyone. We appreciate your time. We are thrilled for this day to celebrate this huge commitment between Bobby and the Royals. Before we get started, I want to introduce a few people. Bobby's family, Bobby Sr., Lori, and fiance Maggie. Representatives from Octagon, Scott Pacino, Lou Nero, Brett Demas, and J.B. Greer. Member of baseball operations, including Lonnie Goldberg, who led the decision to draft Bobby 5 years ago, Scott Sharp, whose creativity was critical to the deal. We also have Lisa Ginter from Community America Credit Union and Whitney Bartelli. Welcome our friends in the media, a lot of people watching on the broadcast around the country and throughout the stadium. I assume some media in Vegas might be watching here as well. This is obviously a huge day for the Royals and Bobby. We're not going to get too far into the dollar figures here, but I know you've all seen the numbers, and I think everybody in this room believes he deserves every penny. So before we take your questions, I know each one of these guys wanted to say something real quick. So, John, you want to get us started?
Yeah, thank you, Sam, and thank you, everybody, for being here. I want to get this turned over to Bobby and JJ, but just a couple comments. First of all, this is a huge day in Kansas City, and there's a lot going on in Kansas City this week, so to get people's attention on something like this, it's a big deal. But this is a big day for our fans, for our city, for our club, and certainly for Bobby and his family. I also want to thank the people that were involved in this deal, Bobby Sr., Scott Pacino, the people from Octagon. These things don't happen with a lot of communication, so we really appreciate I know this was Bobby's decision, but he had really good and smart people working for him, and I think that's an important part of this process. I also want to thank JJ. I think he stayed with it. This was something that we knew was important to us sometime. Well, maybe even when I was hanging around the fence in 2020 watching this young kid kind of run around in spring training, but we certainly knew it over the course of the last 2 years as Bobby began to show his skills at the major league level. And Scott Sharp, as Sam said, Daniel Mack, and other people that were involved in this process. And you think about there's a lot of things in this game that are about process, and certainly we had a process in this deal. But at the end of the day, we all have valuation metrics and analytics, but these deals are about people, and these deals are made by people. So I appreciate, the communication. JJ and I asked for a meeting with Bobby Sr. and Bobby Jr. I think it was in September, and we expressed really three things at that meeting. Number one is that we wanted to make a proposal to Bobby to keep him here for a long time. Number two, we wanted to understand what was important to him and his team, and we wanted to make sure he knew that we were committed to putting a winning team on the field around him. And then that process took a while, right? We made our first offer at the winter meetings. There were a number of counters, but anyway, it culminated, I guess, over the weekend, maybe not finally till you got your physical. And I was a little nervous this morning when he put the pen in his hand. Are you going to sign it? I thought it was pretty well cooked by then. But anyway, for me, this is really about gratitude. Thank you to all the people that I mentioned. And Bobby, I would say, I know you've expressed yourself and thanked us for our commitment and our belief in you, but I would say thank you for your commitment to us and your belief in us. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. JJ?
Well, don't want to repeat a whole lot, but it's exciting for us. This is a great day in Royals history and really Kansas City history. It's exciting. I want to thank Bobby for wanting to be a Royal long term. I think early on when we started out, that was like the biggest question we had to get over, and it was very apparent that Bobby was committed and very comfortable with being in Kansas City, and that was exciting for us. I want to thank Bobby Sr. and Lori for your support, not only today, but really going back to 2019 and trusting our organization and allowing us to be a part of his growth as a player and really becoming a teenager and becoming a young man and soon to be husband. And Maggie, congratulations to you, and thank you for your support, because Kansas City is your home as well. So thank you. Scotty Pacino was outstanding through these negotiations. Obviously, Senior was involved as well, but the openness and the confidence that we had in each other to continue dialogue. Common goal at the end was to try to keep Bobby here. But there were some things, like most negotiations, you got to get through. But I appreciate you hanging with us and us finishing this off here. 2019, kind of an interesting year. We draft Bobby, and then Mr. Sherman becomes the owner. And without Mr. Sherman's support and our entire ownership group, we don't have the opportunity to sign a player with Bobby's talent. So we appreciate your support through this, not only with Bobby, but all of the free agents and the commitments we've made this offseason. It was a great offseason for us, and we're excited about 24 and the years to come. Also, quickly want to thank Brooks Sherman for his guidance and advice along the way. This gets pretty complicated, and having somebody that you can bounce ideas off of was very helpful. Scott Sharp, as Sam mentioned, his creativity and trying to come up with a structure that would allow this deal to ultimately come to fruition. So Scott did a great job. Lonnie Goldberg is mentioned. Without Lonnie's vision of what type of player Bobby could be, and it really started even before 2019. That draft, it wasn't just a couple months of scouting Bobby and getting to know his family and what he's about. There was a lot of years put in. So Lonnie, thank you, because that was a huge part of where we are today. Finally, just again, special day for Kansas City. This process ramped up in September. Once we got to the winter meetings and got going through the holidays, we felt pretty good that we were going to be able to get to a deal. But we're very fortunate that Bobby wants to be part of Kansas City. He shares our vision, wants to win. That was very clear, and we're just proud that you're here. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and I just want to say thank you to Mr. Sherman and all the ownership, just believing in me and for what's to come, and then to JJ and all the front office, and then just the Kansas City Royals organization as a whole, from coaches, teammates, to everyone who's been with me through this ride and for the ride to come. And then also to my family. I wouldn't be here without them, and it's just great for my parents, mom, dad, my 3 older sisters, my brother-in-laws, and Maggie. It's just a blessing to be in this situation here. And then to the fans of Kansas City, I'm just honored to be here, to be able to play here and call this place my home.
That's great. All right, we'll take questions. Just give me a hand so we can keep everything organized. But Joel?
Bob, congratulations. You're always so even keeled. I'm curious what the emotions are like right now, 1 and 2, what it means to make this your home.
It's unbelievable. It's like I said, it's truly just an honor, a blessing. I never really have had tears of joy, maybe like 3 or 4 times. All of my sister's weddings, when I got drafted, and now today. And so it's pretty special. This feeling's amazing. And so, yeah.
Annie?
I think it started almost even before the draft. Just going back to what JJ was speaking about, Lonnie, and just the people who were covering the draft, I think we played, I don't know, around 40 games, and there's a Royal Scout at every single game, most practices, and just seeing the blue up there in the stands, it was just it felt like that, it was right. And then so got drafted here, and then just being in the city, being around the people, the fans, it just felt like home just from day one. And so I'm just honored to be able to be here and try to help the team as much as I can.
Jalen?
Bobby, what made the time now to sign the extension? I know you could have some time to maybe push the number over a bit, but why now?
Just think now's just the perfect time. Just not only sounds bad, but had a bad year last year, but then now just trying to build off that. Just what can we do to keep performing? And you saw all the moves that they made this offseason. It's just a sign of hope. And so it just felt like this is the right time, and it's an exciting time for sure.
Bobby, what were some of the things you heard from the club that were reassuring to you that made the long-term deal easy and exciting for you?
Yeah, it's just kind of like I just said, just what the move they made this past offseason just shows you that they want to win now, and it's the time to win now. And so just being able to kind of do that, talk with them, and just hear what their focuses are, and just trying to get back to winning baseball.
Annie?
What message do you hope to send to the fans, and really about this signing, but also overall the rest of the offseason that you guys have had?
The message to the fans? Well, I hope, I think anybody that knows us, we've been committed to winning for a long time, right? There's not a straight line between point A and point B, but I think at the end of the day, it's not, it can't just be what you say, it has to be what you do. And so I would hope that people would take from this and also this offseason that JJ and his team have engineered are indicative of our commitment to winning, and we want to do something special for the fans of Kansas City.
Jane?
John, when you said you came to the table in September and you proposal and you outlined those 3 areas, what kind of led you to wanting to come back in September and make sure we can get this done now?
What made us come back?
Came to the table in September and wanted to get the job done now.
Well, we wanted to make sure, in September, we wanted to make sure that Bobby and his team understood our intentions, right? And then really turn the process over to JJ and his team and Scott Pacino and Bobby and the Octagon team. And then there was just a whole series of communications that like in any negotiation, right? But the thing, again, that was great about it, it was there were certainly some times when there was a gap, but the parties kept talking and got creative. We talked about the structure of this deal. There's just a lot of things that help. So certainly we wanted to get this done certainly before the season began, ideally before spring training, and really felt like this was the year to do it too. Bobby's a year away from his arbitration years, and felt like he's certainly proven himself as a player. But more importantly, maybe even, is the way he talks about the team and the team commitment. And really in this game, you got to find players that are team first. It's also really, really hard to draft and develop generational talent in this business. It's even harder to keep them in the same uniform, and that's really what this is about. It's going to do a lot for our team.
Yep.
John, there's a perception that smaller market teams not just have difficulty keeping players of Bobby's caliber around, but signing them longer term and giving them that money. Why financially do you think you were able to do this, and does it suggest that other teams of the same market size would be able to do the same thing?
I don't want to speak for the other ones, but I can tell you, in this particular case, we just feel really good about the player and really good about the structure. And look, we understand the value of a player like this. The structure was certainly important, but this is, and also I think as a small market team, we will never use that as an excuse. There may be some things in baseball that could be improved over the long haul from a competitive balance and parity standpoint, but all I know is what we can do here, and we want to do something special for Kansas City, for our fans. And we've been thinking about this deal. I really am serious. I was dreaming about it a little bit in spring training one day when, I think he was about 19 years old, right? And you could see the promise and the hope, but now we've seen it at the major league level, and we all know how hard that is to make that transition to we see all kinds of really talented players that struggle. But Bobby keeps working. His work ethic is kind of off the charts. Every once in a while I'll go out to my suite on a game day at 3:30 in the afternoon, and a lot of times he's in the cage doing extra work, right? And so all of that, and not just his own individual performance, but how he will elevate all of us and the rest of the team by being here. So that's kind of all. It's really about the Kansas City Royals. I'm not sure I'm going to get a standing ovation when I go to Orlando today for the owners' meetings, but there'll certainly be respect.
Just for everyone up there, lots of first-round draft picks, come through the system, but don't pan out. Just what were the things that allowed Bobby to flourish in his draft pick, and how happy are y'all that this is just a tip of the iceberg?
Well, I think clearly Bobby's background, being the son of a longtime major league player, makes a difference. But his work ethic, the type of person he is. You're talking about somebody that knows he's the most talented guy when he steps on the field, probably since he was 6 or 7 years old, but cares about his teammates just as much. That's a very special quality, and that's a lot of what brings us comfort to be able to commit long-term, knowing that that's what makes him special aside from just his talents on the field. But he was clearly raised exceptionally well, very respectful, never run into a player, a coach, he's the guy everybody enjoys being around. And I think it's, when you think about long-term, some of the things it can do for us, players are going to want to come play with Bobby Witt Jr., and that's immeasurable right now. But in our conversations with free agents this offseason, there was one question everyone asked, and tell me about Bobby Witt Jr. So that's going to continue. But special person, special talent, and a lot of comfort in committing to somebody like this.
You got that for Bobby, too?
Yeah, I would just say just the support group that I've had, and just from starting from the Kansas City organization, just always believing in me, trusting in me, just from day one. And so I've been able to they always wanted me to just go out there, play baseball, be Bobby, and go have fun. And so that's kind of what I've done. I've put pressure on myself, but at times where I don't need to, I just go out there and be me. And so that's where they trusted me, and then I had a great support group, not only in baseball, but at home. And so I feel like it's got me to where I'm at here today.
I think Annie.
Yeah, well, we needed to find some common ground. There was some separation early on. We needed to find some common ground. We knew what we felt strongly, like we needed to attain when this deal was all said and done, and we grew to know what was important to Bobby. There's clearly a lot of flexibility on Bobby's behalf, but we're comfortable with that because it allowed us to sign him and acquire, really get a number of years that we felt very good about. So that's where we had to work from both ends to get to that point where both parties were comfortable, and I think when it was all said and done, we're both happy with the structure, and it works for both of us extremely well.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say just to be long term, because this is where I wanted to be, and if I wanted to do something, I wanted to be here. And so that was kind of the main goal. And then just with having how it's structured and everything, just with the chance of whatever happens, kind of happens, and kind of give some ball in my court at some point. But then other than that, just wanted to be here long term. And so once we were able to kind of agree upon that, it was great.
Jalen.
Bobby, what does it mean to you to see so many people sharing their outpouring support after you sign the deal, and also to look up and see your name on a poster saying "Our Guy, Our Team"?
It's unbelievable. It's just being able, all the text messages I was getting, just seeing like breaking news, and it was me, and so it was pretty. it was pretty special, and just all the like I said, the support from family, friends. It was pretty special being able to just see the text messages from the guys. One of them being Patrick Mahomes was pretty cool. But yeah, just from everyone, just all the support, the city, and even just kind of going around. Like we were out Fan Fest this past weekend. Everyone's like, "Oh, when do you get that contract done? When do you get that contract? We want you here forever. We want you to be at Kansas City and forever." And so it's just pretty special just to be able to hear that, all the support and all the love from everyone.
This would be for anyone out there. How would you say that this deal represents what's next for the franchise and the next steps to the deal?
Well, we secured a superstar in the game, so that's step number one. So we're going to have a player here in the middle of our lineup or top of the lineup, whatever it ends up being, that's here for a lot of years, and it gives us something to build around. Not to downplay anything that's happening today, but I think our front office learned that Kansas City is a destination spot for free agents. It was nice to be able to sign guys and represent what does Kansas City bring for you and your family, and what's our vision of the organization. And then when you have some pillars, there's stability there in the coming years when we have to acquire players via free agency or try to trade for players. We have somebody to build around, and that's exciting for us and gives us reason to believe that our long-term vision is possible, and that's to sustain success over many years and be competitive year in, year out.
You good? Okay. Yeah.
Bobby, what did Pat say to you on the text?
He was pretty fired up. He said, "Let's go. Can't wait to see what you do for the city and what's to come." And I just said, "Just bring another one home, and that'll be a start." And so, yeah.
JJ, when other free agents say to you, tell me about Bobby Witt Jr., what's your response?
A lot of what we're saying today, pretty special person. But again, the fact that he cares about his teammates as much as he cares about his own accolades, I think says everything. But I think there's a level of awe you almost hear, and it was interesting to hear those comments and some of the questions they asked. But we see it every day. Now we respect it every day, but when somebody is a visiting player, sees it 6 times a year, it's a good reminder that we've got something that's pretty special and we need to keep this long term. But there's that feeling of, wow, he's different in a lot of different ways.
Bobby, back to Pat. Two Texas guys now, the Kansas stars of Kansas City. Do you want to bring more Texas guys here?
It's up to these guys next week. Yeah.
Cole Reagan's a Texas
Yeah.
guy too, right?
Yeah.
Bobby, you said that the moves that the team made this offseason created a beacon of hope. Could you just expound on that, and where do you see this team going next season?
I think it's just more so we just got to prove ourselves right. We have a lot of talent, and maybe we didn't perform the way we've wanted to in the past. And I think that now with adding those guys, it's going to really help our team and just help us from the get-go. Having those veteran guys being able to help us through the times and having winners on the team. We've had guys that have won World Series in the past now, and so it's going to be a lot of fun just being able to pick their brains, be with them, and just compete.
Harold, then we'll go ahead. Yep.
This for really everybody. JJ, especially, you said that Kansas City's now a destination for free agents. With this signing now, do you think that's a message to Major League Baseball and all the players involved that, hey, Kansas City's a place to come to and we're serious about winning?
Yeah, I don't know how it couldn't be. Now, let's not go too far the other way. We do need to be really strong on our scouting and player development, and we need to rely on our farm system. Free agency has helped us at this period of time in our timeline. It's not necessarily the way we don't want to rely on free agents. We need to have a good farm system. So that's not going to change for us. And we got to scout well, we got to develop well, and put players internally around Bobby, and then be able to acquire free agents when needed. That's something that John has been open about. When the time's right, we'll do what we need to do. And this year we needed to make some moves. Going back to that September meeting, the thing I think we both took out of that is Bobby. Most important thing to Bobby was he wanted to be in a place he thought he could win. That was the number one message we took out of that. I think when you're in a situation which very few in the world have ever been able, when you're as talented as he is, the finances are going to take care of themselves. But he was talking about culture of winning, and that really resonated with John and I. And I think it was probably the driving factor when we got to the finish line here, that we had done some things that showed that we want to win. And I think it's an indication of how we'll operate in the future, whether it's through our own player development system and scouting or free agency. We have to acquire and put good players around Bobby year in and year out.
Are you ready to now try to convince some folks to come to KC now that might have been on the fence on years at airport?
Definitely, but I like where we're at right now and today, and so I'm really looking forward to this team that we have here and just kind of go about this year.
Bobby, you got a standing ovation at your first big league game here at the K, and the fans have obviously been excited since then. How much of a factor was Kansas City's support, even during down years, in choosing to stay here long term?
Yeah, it's huge. It's one of the biggest things. Just shows you how supportive all the fans are, how the people in Kansas City are, and you see what they're doing kind of across the street with the fan bases over there. We want to get that kind of back to over here in blue, and so that's definitely the goal. And we're just going to keep working to get better each and every day, each and every year. And so I'm really looking forward to just kind of being here.
Sweet. Everybody good? All right. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate your time.
All right, so the news conference they will break up and we are hoping to bring over